my friends, and today there is good news. Yesterday, the Ukrainian armed forces successfully struck at the boats in Crimea, and today there is confirmation that they have sunk.
In the village of Kornomorsk in the occupied Crimea, 2 Russian high-speed landing boats were hit. According to Suspiln sources, the operation was carried out by the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Later, the main Directorate of Intelligence confirmed a special operation against Russian ships. According to the Crimean Wind Telegram channel, rescuers are dismantling the rubble of the barracks in Kornomorsk, which was hit. And divers started working at sea. It looks like the boats were also hit, the message reads. The channel also published a video of one of the strikes. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced the downing of 2 drones over Crimea. Later, the main Directorate of Intelligence confirmed a special operation against Russian ships. As a result of a night operation on the territory of the temporarily occupied Crimea, soldiers hit small landing ships of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation. We are talking about boats of Project 11770, Shami class. There was a crew and loaded armored vehicles on the ships, including BTR-82, the message reads.
As we can see, another operation has been successful, and all military facilities in Crimea will gradually be destroyed. Now let's move on to the situation along the front line, starting with the Kherson direction. Surprisingly, today a possible counteroffensive is developing in this direction. Of course, this information is not confirmed yet. There are no official statements from the General Staff on this matter. Therefore, all information from this direction is based on map data, the words of Ukrainian spokespeople and Russian war correspondents who continue to complain that the Ukrainian forces have breached their defense and are advancing further without stopping. However, Russian propagandists have already ordered to urgently reassure the residents and tell them that everything is fine in Russia.
После СВО Россия может стать сильнее. Ну, конечно, у нас сейчас вообще лучшая армия в мире. По степени подготовленности наших бойцов, по вооружению, по логистике. Это вообще надо понимать.
И по признанию US News and World Report.
Это, да, но вообще надо понимать. Армия и война – это логистика. На протяженность в 1000 километров то, что делаем мы, это вообще сравниться не с чем. Если посчитать от простейших вещей, от воды, еды, я уже не говорю про боеприпасов, нет ни одной страны в мире, которая сейчас может обеспечить и решить такого рода логистическую задачу. Даже близко нет. Сравнить не с чем. Поэтому натовцы, вы собираетесь так аккуратно, кучкуйтесь и выберите себе, вот, чтобы вы понимали, попытка воевать с Россией, лучше сразу выберите себе место на кладбище. Много не надо, потому что пепел, он аккуратно складируется. И не надо.
Overall, the Russians continue to do everything to conceal another failure, which the Russian military openly admits. As we already know, there are no fortifications in the Kherson direction. However, the Russians keep claiming that they have 3 lines of defense there. Satellite data has long shown that the Russian defense line runs through Armyansk and then from Krasnoperekopsk to Jankoy, and that's it. All forces were deployed to fortify the Melitopol and Mariupol directions. Therefore, only there do we see 3 lines of defense. Today, hiding something is impossible. But before we continue, I ask you to share this video on social media and watch to the end. Thank you. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers still hope to regain lost positions and continue to advance from the flanks. Today, attacks are taking place in the Robotin area. However, the Russians have no success. They suffer losses and retreat to their former positions. The Ukrainian forces successfully maintain defense, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to expand the foothold further. The Russians continue to strengthen their positions, and with each passing day, their defense becomes stronger. They realize that this is the main direction where the Ukrainian forces attempted to break through, so they are deploying all their forces here. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers continue to show activity, but the Ukrainian forces repel all attacks and successfully hold their positions. So far, the occupiers haven't been able to advance a meter, although attacks persist in the Staromayorsk area. However, all attacks in the Zolotaniva area have failed. Shelling along the entire front line continues with the same intensity. In the Avdiivka direction, the situation is the most challenging. The occupiers continue relentless attacks both from the flanks and on the outskirts of Avdiivka. They are attempting to exhaust our forces from 3 sides, hoping that they have more reserves and can push our units and remove them from the city. However, so far we observe that the advancing Russians continue to suffer massive losses without being able to make any progress. While there were reports last week about the capture of some positions and trenches, currently the front line remains unchanged and they have no success. Looking at the geolocation map, which shows confirmed strikes from the Ukrainian forces, it's evident that the most significant activity today is on the northern flank, where the Ukrainians are successfully repelling the Russians. Today, attacks are taking place in the areas of Novokalinove, Stepove, near the coke and chemical plant, Severne, Tonenke, and they are attempting to approach Avdiivka from 2 sides. Overall, this situation is very complex. But the Ukrainian forces are holding their ground and trying to repel all attacks. In the Bakhmut direction, activity continues, and today the Russians are advancing towards Ivanivsk. Battles are ongoing in the areas of Klishivka and Andriivka. Based on confirmed shelling, the Ukrainian forces successfully dispersed the occupiers both along the front line and up to 14 kilometers deep. Despite significant losses, the Russians continue their attacks. The front line remains unchanged over the day as before. In the Crimean and Siversk areas, after prolonged shelling, the Russians have initiated offensive actions in the forest near Crimean. They are attempting to push our forces as far away from the city as possible. Simultaneously, they intensify shelling along the entire front line. Whether they will succeed in their planned actions will be known in the near future as the intense battles continue. In the Svatove direction, the occupiers remain active and continue their advances towards Novoyegorivka, with no reported changes in the situation. In the Kupiansk direction, there are attacks on Sinkivka and offensives have resumed in the areas of Petropavlivka and Ivanivsk. All attacks are accompanied by a significant amount of shelling. Overall, their reorganization seems to have been successful and the Russians have started advancing with renewed forces. Therefore, it should be acknowledged that the Russians show no signs of stopping. Meanwhile, another military equipment convoy was observed yesterday moving through Voronezh towards Ukraine. The train carried old fuel trucks, old KAMAZ trucks for transporting personnel, trailers with fuel barrels, and specialized vehicles. At the same time, Elon Musk once again shared his comments on the war in Ukraine.
Look, I think I would just recommend do not send the flower of Ukrainian youth to die in trenches. Whether he talks to Putin or not, just don't do that. Whoever goes on the offensive will lose massive numbers of people. And history will not look kindly upon them.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.